Yeah.
Well, we got, so number one, if that was a 30 unit or a 24 unit, we would have probably, I don't know how we might have gone bankrupt on that deal. The big reason was because we had 88 units there where we could stop all distributions for a little while and then just reinvest. We also and we also got lucky because there was a huge ass hailstorm where we were able to get a lot of the roofs replaced from insurance. Um, Now we still had to come up with a big deductible, but we were able to do that because of, once again, the cash flow from the property. So we got semi lucky there, and then once again with the size made it through. We got through some of that rough stuff. We got the rents up. We dropped some of the expenses by making more efficient. We then borrowed $70,000 from the bank to take care of the boilers because we were in a position to easily do that at that point. And then now like we've gotten the property to the point where it's just crushing it. I could have taken out a $6 million loan on it, paid off the $4 million. We would have had $2 million, but all I did was we just took $460,000 and borrowed it from the bank, paid about 10% out of distributions. The rest is going to go of that 460 ish. The rest is going to go right back into the property for more of the repairs that you're seeing going on right now, right? So the only reason though is the scale. And even if like we would have had a hard time with the roofs if it wasn't an insurance deal. But, well, and actually, I mean, the hailstorm was legitimately the reason that we had to do the roofs anyways. I mean, there was one other roof that would have been really bad we probably would have had to do anyway. But the hailstorm and the windstorm was bad enough we legit had to do it because of that. But if it were not all the water heater issues, like each unit has its water heat, like there was just so many expenses. There were so many bad tenants there. If it was not 88 units, and I don't know where that breaking point is. I don't know if it's 12 units or, 24 units I don't know that we would have made it. So the scale saved us. I don't even know if I answered your question. It's been one of those days, but.
So as far as the 10 unit, I know you said you got a whole lot of work to be done or whatever like that. So once you add the value, get the rent to, kind of like, I wouldn't say max them out, but so did you plan to refi that? 'Cause it's smaller.
So here's the story about the 10 unit. The 10 unit we've had since July. It's July of 2018. That's the only property that has never paid a distribution yet. And what's different about that property? It's way smaller than the rest. And the reason being is we just had to put more in than I ever thought. We're like about $17,000 per unit in. I've had to personally write in checks of total about $35,000. Now, the thing is though, is we got at such a low price, like we got in, I think right now we have 540 of debt on it, but literally like I've had people come by, they want to buy it for 850, 875. I think we could probably sell it closer to $1 million now that we've got it to a situation where like rents are 1,100 a month on the new ones, a little bit higher, almost 1,200 a month on the new renovated units, and we're 90% occupied now or 80% occupied now, but come this spring, I'll refinance out that money that I put in, and then we'll be cash flowing like crazy. But once again, like at 10 units, like if I didn't have 30 grand sitting around, if I didn't have money sitting around from other sources or whatever to fund that one, like that one would have hurt for a little while, So scale.
I think somebody said something about this, and you said something about it earlier. So with the syndication, you get a asset management fee, which can be 1 to 2% of the actual project, whatever it is. So like 199 units, it was like 18.7.
No, so so we get an acquisition fee that's 1%. We have a disposition fee that's 1%, and then throughout the life of holding people's capital and principal and investing that principal, there's an asset management fee, and that is 0.25% of the capital raised.
Okay.
The 1% on the front end, the 1% on the back end are pretty standard for the industry and like what we're doing. The 0.25% is about 75 basis points less than typical.
Okay, now I think that's all the questions. Oh yeah, so that one Blue Culture from last week. Did you ever post it on there?
I haven't. I have all the content because I've got cameras and stuff here right now. I've got all the content. We don't have it all chopped up and everything yet though.
Okay, great. That's it, man.
Okay, cool. Who else? Does anyone else have a question? I feel like I've been through everyone. Type yes or something. You got a quick one, Justin. Oh yeah, Justin. I don't think I unmuted you yet. Justin, what's up, man?
So I just got a quick question in regards to like seller financing. I know I'm familiar kind of with usually like the previous owner will kind of hold the mortgage and you still kind of bring the cash to the table. But I know in your video you kind of talked about still taking out a loan and then using the seller financing for the like down payment portion. Could you just talk about that, explain that a little bit more and like the terms and how that kind of works?
That was a storage unit deal, and there was just so much. So once again, I had a really good relationship with that bank, so they believed in me. I don't know that all banks would do this, and I already had a track record. A small track record, but I still had a track record. So we were doing the deal, and I already had the seller commit that he would, hold 20%. So then I went to the bank, and I didn't tell the bank right away. I just said, hey, we're getting a mortgage on this. Like, we'll do 80% LTV, whatever, And then it got to the point where like, well, where's your down payment coming from? This was like a few weeks later, right? We're like moving down the pipeline or moving down the alley, ready to close this thing. And bank was like, where's your down payment coming from? I said, oh, the seller's gonna hold it. And they're like, oh, whoa, like, we need you guys to have some type of cash. I said, okay, fine. Like, this is the state of the deal. Like, I know you guys want this deal, and I kind of just said, hey, someone else will finance it. I don't know if anyone would have, but I just like played a big card on it and sold it. And so I said, okay, fine. We'll come up with $60,000, which is 5%. Seller will hold on to 20%. You guys will finance 75%, and that worked for them. So that's what we did there, and it just that worked because number one, the seller could do it because he only had $200,000 of debt, so he wanted to sell the place. It was on the market for like a year. Like he had he was still going to walk away at the close with substantial proceeds, even though he was holding $240,000 or whatever because he had little debt. So that was one reason it worked. Another reason it worked is because there was actually more value there that was untapped that we knew we were going to be able to unlock, and I was able to sell the bank on our plan. And part of that plan was I got to start advertising the property right away. And if we didn't close, I told the seller, hey, you're going to get the benefit from all this advertising. I'm like, we're going to fill these units. You see that 4,000 square foot shop? I'm going to fill that by the time we close on it. Like, if we don't close on it, you get the benefit. You get the extra $2,600 a month, $2,800 a month. And which $2,800 a month is very competitive, but that was my whole case. I just wanted to be able to be competitive, get it full, right? So I started marketing the property. And now, 3 weeks go by and we start filling storage units. Like, I'm not getting compensated for it, but I start filling storage units. We got a lease signed for the day of closing, or maybe it was the following day, for the 4,000 square foot shop. And so I started showing the bank this stuff, and they just became even more, believers in it. And there was a lot of untapped value there. So untapped value, we bought it for 1.2, but I'm sitting here looking at it like, man, when we get our hands on this 6 months later, it's going to be worth 1.8 to 2. And that's what happened, right? So it was undervalued. The seller had very little debt, and then I was able to sell, the deal and myself to the bank and the seller and then our investor that put in the 60, and so it was a crazy deal. But that's kind of how that worked. It's not going to work, and it's not, like I said in the videos in the course, like it's not meant for every seller financing is not meant for every deal. Right? Like yeah, it'd be great to get, but it's not necessarily meant for every deal. And then like the way that I did that is not meant for every deal, right? So some people are like, oh, you got what do you mean? You got 20% coming from the seller and 75%. Like your LTV is 95%. And I said, just watch. Like it's not really, right? And so that's once again being able to look at the deal from multiple angles. So many people passed on that deal. We made $1 million on it in 30 months. So many people passed. It was on the market for 12 months. But no one was willing to be creative and look at it from all angles.